Certainly, nationwide, we had the Me Too movement that took hold. And, as any professional woman can attest to, this certainly the culture of sexism exists everywhere. And, the Arizona legislature wasn't immune to the culture that was there. And it really took one brave, courageous member of our House to come forward in order for all of us to come together to finally put an end to what was happening there at the legislature.
In all candor, it was somewhat thrust upon me in the sense that I started hearing about, reports from the media. And there were things I hadn't witnessed myself, and people hadn't come to me necessarily, and so I was adapting as I was learning more information, and it was a bit jarring, and so we did our best to be fully engaged in addressing the issue, to be transparent about it, to be vigorous and diligent about seeing it through and making sure we didn't just dismiss it or explain it away, to take it seriously. So I knew this was a watershed moment, that we had to draw a very clear line, show moving forward this is how it's going to be.
The issues of sexual harassment aren't new, right? As a woman in business, as a woman in media, it's something that I've experienced, it's something I've covered, I've seen this throughout my career. Today, it's really coming to light in a hopefully meaningful and profoundly changing way. In this case, it was a personal story, which is unusual. When you're in the media, typically you don't write about yourself and experiences that you have. So it was a little bit different. It was, frankly, a little harder to talk about yourself and your own experiences, but I also felt so many incredibly brave women who had gone through much, much worse things than I had come forward, and to be able to help give voice to them and help support them, and just even play a small role in supporting what they were doing and helping affect change.
I am very grateful to the other women who came forward. I'm grateful to the reporters, specifically Rachel Lengang, who brought to light this important story. And I'm glad that we're recognizing that it was a feat and took a lot of bravery. It's definitely a very positive step in the right direction, but there's so much work that needs to be done. We need to be vigilant in ensuring that every individual, regardless of their gender, is treated with respect and dignity.
I have been pretty overwhelmed with the response, not just at the Capitol, at the court. I'll tell you, I think what surprised me more than anything is just the number of people at the Capitol who have come up to me, folks that I've seen for years but never really worked with because we're in our own silos, came up and thanked me, men and women, because they had similarly suffered and didn't want to come forward.
I think that sexual harassment and sexual assault are often made like a political issue, and it's not. There's not a political division when it comes to treating humans like human beings. I think that the Arizona Capitol and the legislature stood up and they made it a nonpartisan issue for, I think, one of the first times, and just they decided that it wasn't okay. And I think it means a lot for people that are young, and I think it means a lot for people who have experienced this their whole lives.
For me, leadership started with holding that individual accountable for behavior that was within their control. I think true leadership is following it through all the way and ensuring that not only is the culture at the legislature one in which everyone's welcome, one in which, regardless of who you are, you should not be met with harassment or intimidation. But we are in a unique position as lawmakers, as state lawmakers, to ensure that every individual has that environment.
I appreciate the courage that it took for folks to come forward. I'm sure it was awkward. They had to be vulnerable. They weren't sure how it was going to be perceived or interpreted. I appreciated the courage of my colleagues to also step forward and address the issue and to do things that weren't necessarily easy. In the case of the house, we did something we hadn't done in 70 years, and that was to expel one of our own. But you have to do what's necessary. So it took courage for those to come forward. It took courage for the house to step up and do what it needed to do. And I was very proud at the end of the day of what we did.
I can just tell you that I experienced sexual harassment at the state capitol, and so for me, I did what I had to do to stop it. It's come with good things, and it's come with, you know, some very difficult things. And I navigate those the best I can on a day-to-day basis. It has not been easy. The thing I would say to anyone experiencing sexual harassment is you have to do what's in your best interest. And I think what I could offer is, I may not know you and you may not know me, but I will always support that. Every circumstance is so unique and different that I can just tell you whatever you decide is good enough for me, and I will always support that.